Hey, teachers and parents. So I am so excited because in this episode, we are talking to Karen Lender, who is a former primary school teacher in the UK who decided to leave teaching and start her own business called Top Cat Tutor and the Tutor Mentor. So if that is something you have been thinking about, then this is definitely the interview for you. Karen, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
Oh, thank you. I'm good, thank you. It's really lovely to be here and talk to you.
Yeah, can't wait. So tell us what actually prompted you to make the move out of teaching and into starting your own business.
Um, so in 2018, I was working in a local primary school and it was a lovely school, but I got burnt out. I
Oh,
had a really difficult class. It was not no fault of the school. They were amazing, but yeah, I had a really tough class. And I had burnout. And I was really poorly. And then the school went through a bit of a hard time with kind of Ofsted inspections and change of head teacher. So I ended up leaving in 2019. I had another um, bout of stress, depression. I was feeling really lost. I was doing kind of supply work. Um, I got a long-term supply contract in January 2020. So I was with the class for about 6 weeks before lockdown. Um, and yeah, it was kind of COVID came along and my contract was ending and I needed to find a new job. And I'm experienced and therefore I'm expensive to employ. And I just couldn't get a job because in the UK, experienced, expensive teachers, schools can't afford them. All the jobs
mm,
go to newly qualified or recently qualified teachers. I just couldn't get a job. Um, so yeah, that COVID was really the thing that forced me, that whole situation. I couldn't get a job. And actually, in the back of my mind, I was thinking, once the schools go back in September and the restrictions were proving to not be great, I
right.
didn't want to be, I didn't want to be in a school, to be quite honest with you, in that environment, in that climate. I could see that it was going to be awful and I didn't want to kind of put myself under that bus. So yeah, so it was July 2020. I kind of went, right, okay, I'm doing my own thing. Um, yeah, and I haven't looked back.
I'm curious, like just going back for a second to your class when you had that difficult class and you were struggling even after that. Do you think that any sort of um coaching or having someone to talk to kind of help you with what was going on would have helped? Or do you feel that there was sort of no hope for that, for the situation you were in?
Yeah, no, absolutely, definitely. And I think I was quite lucky in that my school were fabulous and the
Mm,
head teacher did listen and was very like super supportive. And I appreciate how lucky I was because I know not all schools have management that are as good as she was at the time. Um, and I did contact a charity that we have in the UK called the Education Support Partnership, who
okay.
provide it's kind of more of an emotional support. And I did get some free counselling from them, which really helped. So yeah, I would highly recommend getting some kind of support in that situation. It absolutely helped me. It helped me kind
Yeah.
of understand the situation and what was going on, and that it wasn't my fault. And actually, a lot of the children's behaviour came because they felt safe with me, so they felt able to, you know, to be angry and all the stuff that was going on because
Yeah.
actually we'd created a safe space. But that's really hard when you're burnt
Oh, of
out
course.
and you've got 29 other kids to deal with, and yeah, the whole situation's just overwhelming. So yeah, I would highly recommend kind of counselling or mentor or a coach or whatever feels
Yeah.
appropriate. definitely
See,
helped. Yeah.
that's exactly why I've chosen to go into becoming a mindset coach for teachers, because of teachers in exactly that situation that just need someone to talk to. Like, this is exactly why I've gone into mindset coaching for teachers, to help teachers like you in that position, because I think sometimes just having someone to talk to and seeing how you can like look at it differently so that you don't suffer from that burnout, and someone to just help you and create a safe space for you, because you're creating
Yeah.
such a safe space for the kids, right? So.
Exactly. And you have to look after yourself, otherwise you can't create that space. You can't give them what they need. And that was part of my frustration. I just could see what these kids needed, and I just felt powerless to provide it for them. For all sorts
Yeah.
of reasons, from
Yeah.
my own, my own burnout down to the system that we work in. And yeah.
Yeah, of course, of course. So going back to your business so can you kind of walk us through the steps of like how you did it? So if there's a teacher out there listening who's thinking of going into private tutoring, well, yeah, what did
Mhm.
you do?
Well, I've been tutoring kind of as a bit of a pocket money sideline thing since 2011.
Okay.
And I would literally just take on like 2 or 3 hours as and when somebody contacted me. I didn't seek it out. I just had my name on a little website, and sometimes people would contact me, and if I felt like doing it, I would. So I've been doing that on and off for 9 years when I started my business. Um, yeah, and it was that that moment of July 2020, nobody's giving me a job. I remember sitting on my bed in floods of tears because I couldn't get a job. And I remember thinking, or maybe I said it out loud, but I remember going, well, if nobody's going to give me a job, I'm going to give myself a job. And I'm just going to see if I can make tuition work, because I got one child for 30 minutes a week at that point. So I had somebody, I had 30
Yeah,
minutes
yeah, it's a
tuition a week.
start.
Exactly. It's a start. So I felt like I wasn't starting from zero. I had one child. So yeah, I kind of built from that. So because I've been doing it very casually for a bit, I kind of I knew what I was doing in terms of the tuition side. And I kind of popped a Facebook post up on a local group, and
Hmm.
I got somebody from that who actually is still working with me nearly 4 years later. I've
Amazing.
tutored her son, and now I'm tutoring her daughter. So I mean, that's amazing. Yeah, so I kind of was I quite liked looking back. I was kind of the naivety of it, of just going, oh, let's just do this thing and see what happens, was quite helpful. There was no fear because I had nothing to lose. I didn't have a job. So I just kind of did it and saw what happened. So yeah, I advertised on Facebook. I was on this other website where I was getting my leads drip feeding in up
Hmm.
until that point. But something else I did, and I'm not sure how many teachers that move out of teaching do this. My dad was self-employed, so I was kind of quite aware of what's involved in
Okay.
being self-employed. And I
Right.
knew it was more than just doing my tutoring. I knew there was other stuff that I didn't know how to do, like accounting. And I knew I'd need like some kind of marketing. Um,
Exactly.
so I
Yeah.
joined a local Facebook group from my local area for small businesses. And that group, I can't thank that group enough. Just a free Facebook group. I'm now really friendly with the lady that ran it, and guess what? I'm now tutoring her son.
There you
um,
go. It's like
so
networking. It's
yeah,
all inclusive in there.
that group, I learned so much. I got to know all these amazing small business owners, and it blew my mind because it wasn't like the teaching world at all. There was no hierarchy. There was no Everybody was just on their own path, doing their own thing and helping each other and wanting everybody to succeed. They knew that, you're your own person trying to earn your own money and, make your own way. And everybody just championed everybody else, and just the support in there, it blew my mind, just how the total opposite to teaching was, how positive it was.
Yeah.
And from that, I got introduced to a local networking group. So I went to this networking group for about a year. And again, I got to meet all sorts of different small business owners. And I still am the only tutor usually in networking groups. And it just reinforced the fact that my perception of what a business owner is like wasn't the reality, certainly in the small business world. It's not corporate, it's not stuffy, it's not booted and suited. It's so positive and inspiring. And I just, those were the things that really helped me take off.
I think that advice,
getting out of that teacher space.
Yeah, it's 100%. Like, I think that advice is so powerful, because I know before I started mindset coaching, I was also a tutor. I started off doing it while I was teaching, so I could get the idea, right? And I wish I had had that advice about go on Facebook and find small businesses, where you can talk to actual people, because I was relying on like maybe a YouTube channel or YouTube video. I didn't have that advice. And if I had that advice, I think it would have made such a difference in trying to learn the business side of it, because it's exactly like you said, teachers are not business. We're not business people.
No, it takes such a mindset shift. And, I thought business was bad. Making money is bad. It's not at all. It's as old as the hills. People have always traded stuff for money. It's totally normal and fine. Especially when you're a small business owner, you're not part of some great big global corporate, planet destroying corporation. You are just you exchanging your skills for money so that you can then buy stuff that helps other people do that. So that I had to really shift my mindset around that. And I think that's where a lot of teachers struggle, is that they don't get out of that teacher world and into that small business world, which just is so inspiring. It's so inspiring.
I think these days especially, right? Because it's a lot easier to find people out there who have started their own business, and to see that it's not how it was, 50 years back, where all the business owners had these suits, and it's like, watching the movie Wall Street or something like that. And right. And there's just regular people starting businesses and trying to navigate in the same way. And great that your dad was an entrepreneur, because that does help to have sort of that knowledge that, wait a minute, there is going to be more to this. What do you think were some of the other mindset shifts that you had to go through?
I worked with a coach who worked with teachers, I guess a bit like you, work with teachers either just in teaching and wanting to transition out, or who had just come out. And she helped me kind of get my mind around the shift. So a bit of emotional support, but also really practical stuff. Like she taught me what social proof is. And she taught me
about social proof. Just explain that.
So social proof is like your testimonials and your reviews, and people saying how good you are, and you just getting it out there. So all this jargon, like it's like when you start a new job and you're like, what? I don't know what the jargon is. It was like that. She kind of helped me with the like small business jargon, and like practical things like. I didn't know how to use hashtags. Like I didn't have an Instagram account. I couldn't understand hashtags. She explained hashtags to me. And just little things like that.
Man, it makes me wish I had hired a coach like so badly when I hear you say that, because I'm like, that is what a coach does. Like, they help identify your pain points, and they help you navigate through them and solve them. And she
helped me set up my like online calendar booking system, which I still use today. That was set up like probably August 2020, September 2020, and I still use it to this day. I'm so glad I worked with her. And then about a year into being self-employed, I then worked with another coach who I'm still working with again to this day, and she is a mindset coach. And I worked with her first of all on completely overhauling my pricing structure. And
why did you want to do that? What was your mindset with your pricing structure?
I think this is similar across other countries, but certainly in the UK, tutors charge by the hour, and there is this higher the per hourly rates, in my opinion, and from my lived experience, are ridiculously low. So because I tutor primary age, and because I tutor kind of confidence building, the kind of the non, I don't do exam prep or anything like that with a tangible outcome. I'm working with the kids that are really struggling at school and need to really go back to the basics and just need the hands holding and kind of quite a lot of mindset work for them.
Yes, absolutely.
And there's this hierarchy, according to this hierarchy that has just kind of emerged within the industry. You can't charge more than £35 an hour. Like that's what are you doing charging? And it's like I was full. I had about 15 children. I couldn't mentally cope with anymore. That was like I was reaching that burnout stage again. And I was earning way less than a newly qualified teacher who does not earn a lot of money anyway. I'm doing half my work for free, which is something that comes from teaching. We work for free. It is expected to work for free. And I'd noticed a lot of small business owners were charging a fixed package that covered everything they did. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So that's what I did. I charge a fixed monthly fee, and it includes, your weekly session, but it also includes my prep time for that session, my feedback to the parent about that session, my 20 years of gaining all the knowledge, skills, qualifications to be able to do this job to a really high standard. That needs factoring in.
That is completely underestimated, right?
Completely underestimated. Yeah, which again is a societal thing. Teaching as a profession is undervalued, and I think that's because it's predominantly a female profession, and it involves working with children, which again is a female thing. My cats are going a bit mad. Sorry if you can hear hissing.
No, I can't even hear them, but it's okay. I don't mind.
Yeah, it's a female profession. So like, oh, well, it's women's work, which, is a caring role. So that isn't remunerated with money. It's not like you're a doctor going to save somebody's life or a lawyer sorting out a legal issue. We'll pay you for that. That's important men's work. Because it's a female caring children thing, it doesn't have the societal respect.
Right, because mothers do that for free, right?
Exactly.
So it's one step off of being a mother.
One step on from that. You don't deserve it because you should, it's expected that you do this for free because it's for children.
Yeah.
And I reject all of that. And it's like, no, if you want your child to have a really high quality learning experience, outside of their education provided by the state, which our education system in the UK is in a mess. It's not fit for purpose, but actually we do have, every child is entitled to education up from 4 till 18.
Yeah.
I can't complain with that. It's not great, but they will get educated for free until 18. So if you want to supplement that, you need to prepare to pay for it.
Karen, just go back and
I'm
just going to pause you because you just paused for a sec. Just go back and say, you need to be prepared to pay for that. Start from that.
Okay. You need to be prepared to pay for that if you want the high quality learning support for your child that people like me can provide.
Absolutely.
That's a valuable service.
Absolutely. I was just reading an article because I've been reading about how are they replacing teachers in the United States, because in Canada it's not such a big issue as it is in the States. No. And one of the things that when they researched with the students, it's the number one thing that makes a child's experience positive is the teacher.
Yeah, it's the most valuable resource.
It's the most valuable resource you have, and you are completely just throwing it away.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to try and help teachers too, because I know there's things they can't control, but there are things that you can do to sort of help yourself and move forward if you want to help the children moving forward.
And valuing yourself. I think there's this perception, which is kind of what I'm moving into with the Tutor Mentor, which is I'm kind of setting up this service at the moment to help tutors kind of get their head around this stuff and not bring it into their tuition service. Because there's this perception that if you charge well, if you're expensive, which is a subjective term, then that's discriminatory, and you're excluding people. And actually, I am high price for compared to other tutors doing what I do. I am at the higher end of the price scale, but I work with wonderful families who are totally in line with how I work. We're a really good fit. They choose me because of the way I work and the results I get. And it means that I can reduce the amount of children I work with so that those children get such a high quality experience from me. I'm not spreading myself too thin. And it's freed up time and energy that means that I can support. I work in a local school who bring me in when they have children in care, in the care system, which they get funding for to pay for. And I'm currently working with them with a child from Ukraine to help him with his English. So I'm still getting paid. This isn't voluntary. I'm not giving away my skills for free. The school fully expect to pay me, but because I've got the time and energy, I'm able to help those more vulnerable children. And I'm able to kind of, I always support at Christmas. I always donate to an educational charity because I'm paid appropriately. I have those funds to be able to donate
to
and
give
support
back
in other ways.
Exactly.
And to give back and to support other small businesses. I always buy books from a local bookshop, things like that. So by charging appropriately, you're not excluding, you're actually building everybody else up, and you're able to help more people. When you undercharge and you undervalue yourself, you're just bringing everybody back down to rock bottom. You're not able to provide that service that you could be providing and producing the help that you could be providing for children.
No, there's a saying in Afrikaans, and which my husband speaks, that basically translates to buying cheap is buying expensive. Because when you buy cheap, you're going to be paying for someone else to fix the damage that your cheap tutor did.
Yes, I'm brought in for that. I've had that a couple of times. They've had a tutor that hasn't been particularly great, and has caused more damage. And so they bring me in because I know what I'm doing and I get good results. And they are prepared. They've realized that, if we pay a bit more, we're probably going to get something better quality from this.
Exactly. That's exactly
you get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for. That's exactly right. You're paying for my 20 years of knowledge, experience, research, right? You're not just paying for an hour of my time.
I'm not a babysitter. You're not paying me to sit with your child for an hour a week and practice their times tables. That's not what you're paying me for. You're paying, exactly what you just said. You're paying me for those 20 years of experience. That means I can provide this really great service and really help your child love learning.
And love learning. I think that is the key, right? Is to succeed and guide with love, and to be able to recognize. One thing I know with me, when I worked with students, is I knew how to push that bit, and how to hold back, and how to who needed that extra and who needed me to just come here for a bit because they need that confidence boost, right? That is something I learned over 20 years of teaching children.
And I've definitely got better at that over the years. When I look back, when I first qualified, I wasn't doing that. I was just going, this is your work, do it. And now it's I do that kind of judging. That's my job, really, is judging. Right, okay, when do we push? When do we come back? How much do I break this down? That's the other thing with primary. People think it's easy, but it's just a skill. What I'm teaching, if I'm helping a 6-year-old understand what multiplication is, that's just as skilled as helping an 18-year-old do some complex equation. The skills are just as important. We're just helping them with different skills. But if I haven't worked with that 6-year-old so that they have a really solid understanding of what multiplication actually is, of repeated addition, and that it works both ways round, and all of that. That means if that child hasn't got that foundation, then they are going to struggle when they're 18.
Absolutely.
It's those foundations. And the research is clear that early years and primary are the most important time in your educational journey. But in the UK, we put all the status on kind of the secondary kind of exam based GCSEs, A levels, though that's where the kind of status is, and that's where the higher prices are. And in my mind, it just devalues further what I do, because I know what I do is vital and so important for those kids at that early part of their learning.
Well,
I don't want them to go to secondary and hate learning. I want them to feel confident.
Exactly, exactly. And I just feel that considering they can find out easily what 5 times 5 is, that's not hard, but understanding why it's like that,
exactly,
the skill, that
that is
the
not
complexity
easy
behind it, that
exactly
is, you know,
that's where the skill comes in. Anybody can go
exactly.
and tell a child that 5 times 5 is 25. Remember that. Anybody can do that. Not
Yeah,
everybody can get them to understand why it is 25. Yeah.
exactly. Are there any, so if you had a teacher come to you now, like, are there any, you've given us such valuable advice about starting a business, starting and a tutoring business especially, but are there any pieces of advice that we've missed, you think, that you might give teachers? Any sort of challenges you had to navigate, or anything you think that we should mention?
I would say if you are in teaching, we've just come out and you've had a traumatic time, if you've had burnout, stress, depression, then I would work on that. I would,
Get your
don't
mindset right
ignore it.
first. Yeah.
Don't ignore it. I mean, I was working through that at the same time as setting up my business. So I don't think you need to work on it and then do your business, but acknowledge it and get help and support for it. Because then you are able to let it go. It took me about a year, I think, to kind of fully go, right, I'm completely out of teacher mindset now. And I had a tough time, but I know that my experience was a lot less traumatic than some teachers' experiences.
Yeah.
So, in the grand scheme of things, I was quite lucky, but I still had a tough time. So yeah, find a coach, find a therapist, do whatever you need to do to heal from the classroom, which sounds awful, doesn't it? That it makes people so ill, but it does.
But it is the accurate word from it, because in a way, like, you've been affected, mentally, and you need to fix that and work on that, and heal. I mean, to me, the word heal has connotations of getting you to a more positive space. So I think that word is good. Healing.
Yeah. I think I had to do that, and I would highly recommend it.
Yeah.
And like I was saying before, the getting out of that kind of teacher mindset and getting out of those teacher Facebook groups or tutor. I haven't been in a tutor Facebook group for probably 2 or more years, because
that's a good point.
They're basically just teacher groups, but just with tutoring. And it's just the negative mindset, the limiting beliefs, the toxic ideas that you're not even aware of, like charging by the hour, like doing it for the children, like working for free, that people aren't even aware that this is a problem. And I just can't be in these spaces anymore. I just kind of went through and just got rid of all these groups that just weren't serving me anymore.
So smart.
Join the groups, join the spaces that inspire you, that have people that are a little bit further on than you are, that you can look up to. And just kind of, that's the thing with the small business world. There are people doing jobs I didn't know existed. Like, I didn't know that there were such things as mindset coaches.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing. It opens up your world. So, as teachers, we are encouraging children to expand their horizons and their aspirations and go out to the big world and see what's out there. And yet we are so tunnel visioned, and we only see the teaching world, and we just don't know what else is out there. And there is this huge world, wonderful world out there. And for all these people doing all these amazing things, I didn't know existed. So it's like, open your mind and just, get out of those
those
spaces that
limiting
are not
beliefs,
serving.
like you said,
Yeah,
like,
limiting
and
beliefs.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
So
you hit the nail on the head, where I just wanted to also say, like, you hit the nail on the head with the Facebook groups. Like, don't think of yourself as a tutor, think of yourself as a business owner. You
yeah,
are now a business owner, you are an
yes,
entrepreneur, and those are the
yes,
groups you need to be on. The tutoring
exactly.
groups, and you don't want to be anywhere where it's toxic. If you feel
No,
like when you're reading through things, they are saying negative things, get off as
get
fast as you
out. Yeah,
can.
yeah. It
So,
just brings you back down and it starts making you doubt yourself. And yeah, just come away. It's the best thing I
yeah,
did, not engaging with Tutors for Tutors. I've actually now joined an organisation in the UK called Qualified Tutor, which is a professional organisation.
yeah,
And their aim is to like get tuition recognised as the highly skilled profession that it is. So I'm
amazing.
happy to be in that space, but I've had to build myself up to go into that space.
Yeah,
I've
but
had
you're
to
ready
kind of,
now. You see, your
I'm ready now and
mindset's
I'm in
ready.
now. And it's a different kind of space. It is, the tutors in there are in this, are also in this mindset. It's totally different to the Facebook groups. So yeah, it's finding the right places and embracing this whole other world.
Amazing.
Um,
I love
yeah,
it.
and just the best bit of advice I was given right at the start by an ex-teacher who had moved into working for themselves was hold your nerve. Just hold your nerve because you want everything to happen. You just want to be
Yes.
full and you
Yeah.
just want to be making money. And you have to hold your nerve and you have to keep holding your nerve. So, I held my nerve from July 2020, but by February 21, I was full and things were really great. And they kept ticking along quite nicely. And then last autumn, I took a dip. I lost some of my children because they just naturally come to the end.
Yep. It
My
happens.
little autumn flurry when schools go back in September didn't happen. And it was a bit of it was a bit scary, but I held my nerve. And January this year, I'm back to being full. So you will go through these peaks and troughs, and it's okay. You just have to keep believing in what you're doing. Hold your nerve.
Yeah, that's great advice. That is fantastic, fantastic advice, Karen. Amazing, amazing. So tell me as we finish off, is your website the best place for people to find you online, or are you on any socials or?
Yeah. So yeah, there's a mixture of places. So my website is topcattutor.co.uk, which has all my information about tuition for parents. But there is a tab that says support for tutors. Which is at time of recording,
Yes.
it's going through a bit of a transition. So yeah, I'm just setting up the Tutor Mentor, which I'm hoping to launch in the next kind of month or two.
Cool. So we're on
depending on when people,
March the 7th.
we're
So we're
March,
just,
yes.
yeah,
So
give that data.
depending on when people listen to this, it may have got set up or it may still be being tweaked and stuff. But
Okay.
that support for tutors page will have information, and there is a free video download on there for tutors. It's a 20-minute video, and I've got a course called 10 Steps to Changing How You Charge, and it's the first step, and it is about recognizing those limiting beliefs from teaching. So if people want to just like download 20-minute video of me talking them through that, giving them some help with that,
Perfect.
they can get that on there. There's a download for parents as well on that website, which is decoding teacher jargon, but it's very
Oh,
UK based.
a good one.
But
Okay.
it's an A to Z of jargon used in primary schools. It is UK based, but there's probably some crossovers of terminology.
Just wait 1 second, Karen. Just wait 1 second. We just lost,
And
hold
I'm
on
on
1 sec. So you just froze for a sec. So I just want you, just give me 1 second. You've just frozen for a second.
right.
Hold on.
That's okay.
Okay. Yeah. You're back. I want you to go back to where you said, it's all UK based. So it is for UK. So if you could start with that, because it just froze for a second there. So if you
Okay.
could just go with that, it's all UK based. Go for it.
So it's all UK based, the terminology, but I expect there will be crossovers for other parts of the world. My Facebook page for my tuition is Karen Lander, the Top Cat Tutor. And for my tutor mentoring on Instagram, it is KL Tutor Mentor. And I'm on LinkedIn, so you can just look for Karen Lander on LinkedIn. and I will come
Perfect.
up there.
Amazing. Awesome. Thank you so much. And are there any books that you would recommend for like personal or professional development?
Yeah, oh, I'll tell you a great book. My coach gifted me this, which was really lovely. But Denise Duffield Thomas, I don't know whether you've heard of her. She is an Australian millionaire. She she mentors people in money mindset. She's so down to earth. She speaks so much sense. So I have her book called Tutorpreneur, which is all about,
Ooh,
you know, work doesn't have to be hard, which I think is something that teachers would struggle with getting their head around.
yes,
You know,
definitely.
time, it doesn't equal money, and just you can have a chilled life and earn good money from it. So I highly recommend Denise Duffield Thomas and Chillpreneur. And
Okay, cool.
a
Write
kind of
that down.
more personal one that I read last year was called Real Self-Care by Dr. Pooja Lakshmin. And she kind of digs into what self-care is, and that it's kind of more than just, you know, going to yoga and having a bath. And she digs into, you know, a lot of mindset stuff and just really looking after yourself and what that really means.
Yeah.
And so I would again highly recommend that, and I think it's something that teachers would resonate with.
Cool. I've written those down. Amazing. I'm going to put those in the show notes. And tell me what is one of your strategies then for moving from a negative mindset into a positive mindset?
Work with a coach or a mentor.
Yeah.
It's been the best thing. So yeah, highly recommend
Yep.
what you do.
There you go.
I wouldn't be here if I hadn't worked with coaches. I've worked with two.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Practicing gratitude every night. I do 3 things I'm grateful for. Meditations. I've started doing just 5 or 10 minutes just every
Yeah.
morning, just to get yourself in the right frame of mind. And just stay in your lane. Don't worry about what other people are doing.
Yeah.
Don't kind of
Yeah.
just
That's
do what
very
you're
good
doing, because that will be
advice.
the right thing to do.
That's
But
excellent
your coach will
advice.
help you when you start to veer off.
Yes, exactly. That's what we're here for. Exactly. And tell me, what is one piece of advice you would give to yourself as a first year teacher, a young teacher?
Gosh, this is so hard because I was a first year teacher 20 years ago this year. It's
Yeah,
just
same. I
terrifying.
know.
Oh, and you kind of want to say, oh, don't do it, get out now. But actually, that's not true, because I wouldn't be doing what I am now if I hadn't done that. So I'm very grateful for it. I think it's remembering that you're the most important asset in that room, and
Nice.
therefore your needs need to come first, not last. Your health and well-being is the most important thing, because without that, you can't help those children.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's okay to leave early one night a week. It's okay not to do your marking. Not all of that paperwork actually needs to be done. All that stuff they tell you need to do, probably most of it, you probably don't need to do it, in all honesty.
Yeah.
And they're probably not going to chase you up for it.
Yeah, it's
So
true.
just, yeah, focus on you and getting what the essentials done, your lessons and your marking and the stuff that has to be done, but not
Yeah.
at the expense of your own health.
Yes, yes, that's so true. So true. So true. And what 3 things, Karen, to finish us off, what 3 things are you grateful for today?
Oh, well, I'm so grateful for talking to you. This is my first podcast interview, so
Amazing.
it's
That's
really exciting. Yeah.
fantastic. I love it. Well, it's
So
been
yeah,
great.
I've loved it. It's been something I've wanted to do for a little while, and so it's so exciting. I'm really excited. So I'm really grateful to talk to you today and talk about these things, because it's something that I'm really passionate about. Um, what else? I'm grateful for even though they've been a bit naughty, my cats.
Nice. Yeah. Gotta love the cats.
Yeah, I've got to love my cat. Yeah, every day I'm grateful for them. And I think this spring is on the way. It's
Amazing.
been cold and wet, and we had snow at the weekend, and I don't like snow. So
Yeah. Well, no, I agree. Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, Karen, I'm just so grateful for you coming on the show as well, because I really appreciate, all the valuable advice you've given our listeners today, and the fact that you're helping so many students with their academics, which in turn helps parents and helps teachers. So they're so lucky to have
yeah,
you. And I just wish you the ultimate like success and prosperity as you move forward. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. You too.